G'day guys, welcome back. Welcome to Pouring Your Heart Out. It's Petri Day or Feathering Day, whichever way you want to look at it. To me, Petri is more longer, sort of tendrils, dendrils, I don't know what they're called, and they kind of hit the back or the bottom of the mold. This to me is more like a feathering. Now this one I was practicing. I have got a few little blobbies there. But see, it's very, very dark. Now, I was using the Let's Resin inks, which I'm going to use today as well, but mine, for some reason, they don't spread. And I did open a new box because I thought, or maybe my older ones, you know, the alcohol had evaporated and I was left with mainly pigment. So I opened a new box, and I got that. It's a bit dark because I think I had to add so much ink to cover the surface. Now this is totally inspired by Tony Pettinari. Did I pronounce it right, Tony? I'll link his YouTube channel for you. It is relatively new YouTube channel, but doing great work. I am using the Let's Resin Petri resin with the little Petri pictures on the front, A and B. I mixed up 75 grams of A and 70 grams of B. And I'm just going to do these two here. So let's get pouring. I didn't put it into my vacuum chamber or debubbling machine because it's a relatively thin resin. And hopefully the bubbles will just sort of come up to the top and pop. This one's quite thin. I weighed this one, it was 50 grams. It was 50 grams. So I thought I'll do the next ones at 75. I'm just making sure that I'm getting equal amounts here. So 75 grams each in this. This is my small deep coaster mold, if anyone's interested in that one. Let's just make sure, oops, you've got more. And I do need to make sure I've got room left for the actual inks to go in. Not that they take a lot, but we need to make sure that we've got enough room. This one's still got a bit more. I got down and looked on it sideways so I could see. All right, how's that looking now? I think that should be pretty good. Let's take a little bit out of each. Okay, so about 75 grams. For each of those, and give it a bit of a torch. So what I thought I would do, because there's no point doing exactly the same thing as I did before with this one and just drop the inks, because I'm going to get exactly the same effect. So what I thought I would try, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to try it today. I'm going to give all these a good shake. So pretty much gone with primary colors. Because primary colours, you know, that when like a red and a yellow mix, you get an orange and a blue and a yellow, make a green and all that sort of thing. So try to pick colours that aren't going to make an icky baby poo brown colour. Hopefully this is shaken enough. I did shake my white before. So this is the, oops, where are you? There. This is the Let's Resin Sinker White. It's the C Deeper, which means it's the strongest. So it's probably got more white paste in comparison to alcohol. All right, so I'm going to get all these out. I have got Sapphire Blue. I'll put the lids above them so I know who's who in the zoo. Green. Kind of have to push down and turn, you know, like a baby proof lid. Red, yellow, go over here, oh gosh, spilling, yellow, magenta and purple. Just thought a nice sort of rainbowish color scheme would be nice. So what I want to do differently is I want to try and get these inks to spread. So alcohol inks are basically alcohol, isopropyl and pigment. So if I spray this is my isopropyl alcohol in here. If I spray this and then quickly drop the inks, I don't know. I'm hoping it'll work. All right, so let's do it. Cover that with isopropyl, and then, okay, that's not working. That's not working. Oh gosh. Okay, I thought it would work. It's not working. All right, let's get these off. Not working. Okay, well, now you want to work. What's with that? Now you want to work. Are you going to spread? Oh, look, I don't know. I was sure that would work. All right, we're just going to go with it. We're going to go with, we'll do some red. Maybe, what about if I spray the isopropyl on afterwards? Would that work? Go with some blue. Look, I've seen other people do this and their inks spread. Mine don't. I don't know why. They just don't. What colour is that? Yeah, go figure. It just doesn't. Even if I leave them set. It's not like my resin's really cold or it's really hot. They just don't spread. I've asked Let's Resin to send me some new alcohol inks. I'm going to see what happens if I spray this now. Nope. Okay. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with this, and I'm going to go and get some inks from another brand. Sorry, Let's Resin, but I've tried and tried and tried, and I just cannot get these inks to work for me. I don't know why. I don't think it's me. You can see what's happening with them. All right, let's do some magenta. Oh, squirted. So, and I don't want to put too much ink in, because what's going to happen is it's just going to be too dark. So, you know, you shouldn't really be putting this many drops of ink in, really, because it just makes it too dark. And they don't want to come out. The drops don't want to come out either. All right, I've got some Ranger inks. I haven't got all the colours, but I'm going to go with, on this one we'll do Ranger. And you can see the difference straight away. I would have liked to have used all Let's Resin products, but for me, as you can see, it just doesn't work. And I don't know why. So we'll do some yellow. Try and keep the lids there with them. Do some flamingo. And we've got some cobalt blue. Put a little bit of blue around. Maybe some blue around the edges as well. Trying to get it to touch. Oh gosh, that's a lot of blue. All right, no more blue. But look, see how this has vanished? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go in and I'm going to use the Ranger in here as well. Try and just put it on top of the other colours, because I don't want it to be wasted. All right, that's the blue done. And go with a little bit more red. So basically, I just want to cover the whole surface of this resin with ink. And it's probably going to be way too dark now, because this one's got double the amount of ink. but we'll see. That's it. There's a gap there, so I'm just covering in, closing the gaps with this ink. Try and lighten it a bit by putting some yellow in. More yellow in this one. Try to fill in all those little gaps. A little bit of this one. So yeah, basically just cover everything. You don't want to see any clear resin, okay? I'll try to anyway. I think that should be enough. Okay. I don't know whose lids go with who now. I'll have to spend some time putting all the lids back on, but for now we'll just leave it like that. I'll come back and do lids later. All right, so we're pretty good there with the covering. This one's not as well covered. It looks a lot darker. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop in the white. Okay. Make sure you mix it really well so that you don't see that little bit of white paste sitting on the bottom. It's kind of pulled away a little bit. I'll add a touch more. All right, we'll start over here. Oh no. Oh, that's all right. I remember I cut that off because it wasn't coming out. It does not want to spread. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I'm going to grab one of my other whites. This is pushed away from the sides. See, to me this is putting in way too much ink. Oh gosh. So this one I decanted from, you know, the big bottles of Sea Deeper, and then this one's just my old Sea Deeper, but I can see that the paste is still sticking to the bottom there, so I don't know that that's going to be any good or not. So anyway, let's try this one. I put a couple of ball bearings in it. It's still not really spreading there. It may be because I've got too much ink. But look, this is a little experiment. If it doesn't work, then so be it. It doesn't work. No, that one's not stirred up. That's not shaken up. See all that white on the bottom? Where are you? All that white on the bottom. That's not going to work. I need to give that a much better shake. I'll just go back to this one and hope for the best. It's basically just going to cover the surface. But yeah, it doesn't spread the way I've seen other people's spread. I sound a bit of a whinger today, don't I? But look, I've been trying. I've done so many of these Petris and they just don't work for me. I found the little ones in the, you know, the little pendants. I've had quite success with those ones. Just basically trying to cover all of my ink with white. If you put too much white on, then it's heavy and it just falls through and you get those blobs on the other side. Oops. I guess it'll spread a little bit. Okay, should I leave it at that? Okay, I've made a big mess. I don't know what's going on over here. I'll just leave it like that. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's all I can do. What's this one? So that looks pretty. They seem to work really well in the small ones. This was Let's Resin Ink, Ranger Inks, and Inoki White. That one. And what else? I've got got lots. I have lots. That's Octopus Fluids with enoki. And that one was Ranger inks as well. Like I said, that one was the Let's Resin inks and white. And what have we got here? This one is Let's Resin inks, Let's Resin and Pom Pom white by Octopus Fluids. But again, see, I've got a lot of clear on the outside. The colours just didn't spread. Anyway, we shall see what happens. Oh, look at that. Big gap there. Big gap. I don't think this is going to be a very successful video, you guys. But, you know, sometimes we can learn from the fails. Yeah, big gap there that's got nothing in it. A big gap there that's got nothing in it. Never mind. All right, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to clean up my mess, and I'll see you for the unmoulding. Wish me luck. Right, it's not ready for unmoulding yet, but I did forget to mention that I was going to come back and draw on it. Give it some kind of a little pattern, similar to what I do with the 3D blooms. You know how you pull through and make those little petals? So I'm going to do that. Now, as you can see, these are the two I did with you, and then I just thought, oh, I'm just going to have a go at those ones down there at the back. For those ones, I used this Resin Art Clear Crystal. This side I used Ranger inks with enoki, and this side I used Pinata with Let's Resin Sinker. So that's just a little experiment. If it works, I'll do another video on it, but I just thought might as well use them. I've got those two sitting there. All right, you can see that's really dark. It's got a lot of ink in it. Yeah, we'll just see. All right, so looking at it like a clock, 12, 6, 3, 9, going to come down into the middle. So I've left it about 45 minutes. It leaves a bit of a train. We're going to go in, and then split the difference with those ones. So all in, and now between each of those we're going to just go out. If I can see where they are. I don't know if I can see where they are. I think I might have missed one there. Yeah, it's really hard to see because it's so dark. I think that's it. And a little swirl. Okay. So I'm going to do that with all of them. In, and then split the difference and out. I like to leave it a little bit until the resin's sort of got thick. Otherwise, if you do this too soon, it doesn't leave those lines. It just, the resin just keeps coming in and doesn't sort of make a little pattern. And if you do it too late, you get bubbles stuck in there. But I think it's been about 45 minutes. All right, same thing, in. Oh, this is much thinner, probably because I did it later. Out, 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 swirl. Okay. Oh, and traditional Pinata has a skin. It's just what Pinata does. It's one thing I really dislike about Pinata inks is the skin. If you've used Pinata inks, you'll know what I'm talking about. Hate the skins. It just does it. All right, so there we go. Now, probably going to take maybe 6 hours or so before unmolding. So we'll see how we go. I know I've got a little space there where there's no ink on it. I wonder if I can just add a drop just so it's... And I know it's the wrong ink, but we'll just add that to it just so we don't have a clear spot. It was just whatever was closest. We'll just colour in the gaps so we don't have a spot, a blank. All right, I better cover it just in case a fly or something goes in there. We don't want that to happen. All right, see you soon. All right, I think they are cured. I put them in my food dehydrator just for half an hour just to finish off the curing. And we'll have a look, eh? So this was the Let's Resin ink with the Let's Resin sinker. That was the Ranger inks with the Let's Resin sinker. So we'll have a look. Still a bit bendy. Oh gosh, I can see droppage. I can see droppage. Look. Now that's a Petri. See how it looks down there? It drops over the sides. All right, let's have a look. We'll put it on this card so we cover up the other. Oh, okay. It's not too bad, actually. It's quite pretty. I thought it was going to be a lot darker than that. I do have some... I've got an area... What will I point with? Here. See that area there where there's no... I probably didn't put enough white on that, so it's just colour. So yeah, it mustn't have... I was worried about putting too much white in, because if you put too much white in, then you get these little blobbies, you see. Which, I mean, I don't mind, but I was trying not to get them. But yeah, I've got some areas there where I didn't put enough white, so we'd have no droppage. But if you look really, really carefully, you can see some really pretty little feathering effects going on. But yeah, I just didn't put enough in the middle there. All right, so that's the first one. I'll compare it to my previous one. They're similar. I mean, this one's got more because it's got more effects. It's got more white in the center there. So, but this one has got color right around to the edges, and that's your traditional, that's not the word, that's the Petri effect there, how the white has dropped down on the edge. And I don't have it here because I didn't put the ink close enough to the edges. I didn't want to overdo it. So there we go. Still pretty. Yay. Oh look, I'm happy with that. I'm not unhappy with it, that's for sure. All right, next one. Oh gosh, I can see droppage as well. Droppage. Put this on here so we're not confusing my poor camera. Doesn't know what to focus on. So yeah, we've got some droppage. One day I'm going to do a Petri with all droppage because that's how a traditional Petri is supposed to be. But we're not going for traditional. Look at that. The colours I think are brighter on this one. Probably because I didn't put as much ink in. Still got a couple of areas where I could have added more white that I haven't got any effects. I was just worried about putting too much white in because, you know, you get this. But I got them anyway, little blobbies. I must show you, if I can find it, my traditional Petri. I'll just go and find it. Wait right there. Okay, so here it is. That is your traditional... Again, I don't think it's the correct wording for it. Traditional. Where you get a... I mean, it has got a lot of droppage, but you can see all these gorgeous effects on the outside. And it's all the way down the sides. A little bit blobby. If you check out Josie's video, geez, I can't remember her surname. Josie, she started doing these Petris years ago. But yeah, that's your... What's the other word? Not traditional, maybe original. Original, does that sound better? That's your original Petri. And then these are more your feathering with the little tiny effects. And you can see the difference. Which one do you prefer, Petri or feather? All right, let's get the next two out and see how they go, shall we? So this one was the Let's Resin again. Is that what I said? There's only been a few hours, I can't remember. I think it was the Let's Resin again and the Enoki white, I think. I'll have to look back on my video and see, but I think that's it. Oh, this one's got droppage too. Gosh. Enoki's quite strong. Oh, yes. Look at that. They look like little mushrooms. Okay. So you can see how much stronger Enoki is to Let's Resin See Deeper. A lot more droppage. But again, if that's the kind of look that you're going for, then it's still pretty. Like, I think they're all pretty, and I think they're really interesting to look at. They would make amazing coasters. Look at my swirl. Look at that. It's like, almost like little paw prints, aren't they? I've got some really cool little effects going on in here, little wispiness. Probably if I made a deeper mold, maybe not as much droppage, or just not as much white. The white is quite strong. Put that one there. Let's have a look. These, I think this was Enoki. Yes, Enoki. And you can see it's quite, I always get quite a lot of droppage from Enoki. But if you like that look, then use Enoki. Right, last one, Pinata alcohol inks with Let's Resin See Deeper. Let's see how this went. Oh, I can see droppage as well. My gosh, droppage on all of them. Look, droppage. Maybe that's just because it was touching the edges. The ink was touching the edges, maybe. All right, let's have a look. Oh, the colours are bright. Wow. Little bit of blobbiness. I kind of went back and added more white because I could see open gaps. Again, I've got some areas here where there's not much going on. And there. And a little bit there where there's not much going on, but the colours are really bright. So that's the Pinata versus the Let's Resin inks. But again, I think it's just darker because I put in so much ink because I was trying to cover the whole surface. So yeah, it does look much darker. But if my ink spread, I think that would be like the #1 choice, because I would have brighter. It's only darker because I put so much ink in. And I'm getting really pretty effects in there. So if I can get my Let's Resin inks to spread, I think we would be on a winner there. I'll link this mold for you down below if you want to grab that one. All right, so that was that one, that one, that one, that one. That was the 4 of them. Yep. All right. Let me know which one you prefer. Do you have a favorite? Stand down off my little box. Let's Resin. Oops. Try to focus. I'll get some nice little macro shots for you. So that's the Let's Resin with the Let's Resin ink. The Ranger inks with Let's Resin Sinker. And then up here we have Let's Resin inks. No, Ranger inks. Oh, gosh, you guys, I can't remember. I'm going to have to go back and look at my video. But anyway, that's the Enoki. So got lots of white blobbies. I like the middle though. That's the Enoki white. And then this one is the Pinata alcohol inks. I can focus. Pinata alcohol inks with the Let's Resin Sea Deeper. There you go. And then that's the OG. That's Pinata, but I made my own. I mixed it with alcohol. Anyway, that's another story. I did that last year. So there you go. There they are in all their glory. My carpenter's outside building doggy stairs from the doggy door out onto the grass. So there you go. Anyway, let me know which you prefer. And we can always go again and do it again. And also tell me, do your Let's Resin alcohol ink spread? Or is it just me? Maybe it's because I'm down under. Maybe. I'm on the other side of the world. Maybe they just don't work the same over here. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to seeing you all again for the next video. So take care. Love you all. Bye for now.